welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us, that gets us thinking, gets us connected, and perhaps inspired or challenged you just a bit more because we made the connection. Today, we're going to be talking about a new show that's coming to our AM 950 family. It's part of our weekend lineup. It's on Sundays from 10 to 11, and it's going to start on January 6th. So you get to get a preview before the first show. And I have Candy Brofel, who is here to talk to us about Natural Awakenings. She's the publisher of Natural Awakenings. This is a Twin Cities edition, and it's going to be part of the show, but not all the show. Candy has some ideas of her own as well that's going to be bringing some magic on air. Now, our weekend shows are locally produced, and they provide ways for our listeners to learn more about opportunities in our Twin Cities. Health is very important here at AM 950. In fact, my first show, I was part of a team that focused on bringing health awareness and ways to access a variety of health care in our metropolitan area. So I'm thrilled we have an additional health care program in addition to our Living Fusion radio show. So welcome, Candy. I'm so glad you're here today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you be part of the family.
Thank you.
So as publisher of the Twin Cities Natural Awakenings, this will be a great radio counterpart. Would you tell us a little bit about Natural Awakenings? What is that magazine all about?
Sure. So it's a magazine that focuses on integrative health, complementary health, renewable energy, green living, and just different things that you can do to live a healthier, happier life. And so we really focus on taking a look at the newest trends that are coming in complementary health and how you can do a lot more self-care for yourself and for your family.
One of the things I noticed, it's got a nice blend of national articles and local articles.
Yes, that's what we're very proud of. We have so much talent right here in the Twin Cities and so many people who are so focused on helping you. And so they're able to bring in a lot of their expertise, and it could be on a multitude of topics. Each month we have a different focus that we look at. So for instance, in December, our focus was on uplifting humanity.
Oh, nice.
And then also a sub-focus on the holidays.
Well, with that in mind, now this is both a magazine as well as something that we can access online.
Correct. So you can always get the online version at our website at naturaltwincities.com. And you can always access it through our Facebook page as well.
And if folks love to, have something in their hands, there are ways to get this free. It's a free publication, and you can get it at like yoga places, coffee shops, health food stores, health clinics, and libraries are a great place too.
Yes, libraries all over the Twin Cities. So we are distributed actually in over 400 locations.
Wow.
Throughout the Twin Cities. And if there's anywhere that you would like to see us at, let me know because we're happy to look at that.
Now, there's something special in the December magazine, I understand.
Yes, our December magazine has a gift guide. And so we really wanted to take a focus on a gift guide that you can use for giving gifts of wellness, gifts of good health.
And I love that it's local. All the good things here in the Twin
items
Cities
are local.
So is there a reason that health was something that you wanted to, make your career and being able to support this magazine? Has health had an impact in you in a special way?
It has. So besides having the magazine and publishing the magazine, I also am a healthcare provider. So my husband and I both we co-own an adult foster care home in northern Minnesota. So we have 3 adults who live with us, who we care for. They are elderly and developmentally disabled. And we've done that for 27 years.
Wow.
So I've always tried to find ways to help support their health through more natural opportunities as well. So I never suggest people forego a medical care. It's complementary. Yeah. So it's how can you be more healthy? What can you do for yourself? What can you learn yourself so that you can actually have more valuable conversations with your medical practitioners as well?
27 years ago, was there a reason that you decided you wanted to create this opportunity for seniors to come and live with you?
27 years ago, my grandparents both got very ill, and there was no one to take care of them, basically, and we didn't want them to go into a nursing home. So I was very, very young. I won't tell you how young, because then you'll know how old I am.
I'll quickly add it on my fingers and toes.
But I was very young back then and loved my grandparents very much. And so I wanted to try to find a way that I could stay home, get out of my full-time job, stay home and take care of them. And it was something that they had done while they were younger, too. So they had... Back then it was called a boarding home. And so they had boarders that they cared for. And my grandfather said, why don't you consider that? So I thought it would be something we would do just temporarily. And even actually promised my son temporarily that, you know, it was something we would do for a few years as Grandpa and Grandma were transitioning. And then we would move on to something else. Well, 27 years later, we haven't quite moved on yet.
You're still in that transition phase.
Yes, still in that transition phase. My son transitioned far quicker than we did.
Well, I had something similar. My father became disabled when I was a teenager. He had a stroke. And it was the understanding the gift of health at that point, and so critical in how it changed all of our lives, because my mom went to work, so I had to take over taking care of my dad and taking care of the home, and having him lose all his memories except for memories of the family. And so how wonderful it was that we could hold on to that. But it gave to me a heart of what does well-being mean? And what a gift that really is.
So my grandmother also had dementia issues. She had had a massive stroke, which caused dementia issues, but we also think that she probably had dementia issues prior to that. And I have to say, and I'm sure you experience the same thing, there are so many good organizations out there that can help you.
Yes.
And so a shameless plug for the Alzheimer's Association, which was instrumental in helping me to understand that.
And caretakers need to be supported as
Yes.
much as the folks that need the programs. And I found that very helpful. Although my dad didn't, it was more of the stroke. And the American Red Cross was very supportive in getting my dad to the various therapies that he needed to do. But I also discovered art and health, and that was my passion, was singing and creating stories, and that there was a way to connect through drama and art that didn't necessarily that you wouldn't tumble to, but that created a connection, which created my heart for both connections and for good programs on health and wellness to keep ourselves healthy.
Creativity is such an important part of it. For myself, with my grandmother, it was the last thing that she actually lost was the ability to recognize music. And so even when she couldn't speak anymore, she would start to sing. Which was amazing. So you could ask her questions, you could try to have a conversation, she wouldn't. But if you sang a song, she would sing along with you.
Well, and
it was amazing.
It was the first thing that I connected with my dad because he was totally aphasic when he first had his stroke, so he couldn't speak at all. But we started singing a song that he made up. And he was a song that he made up about his high school, and we all thought that this was really his high school song, but we were told later, when we were growing up, that no, Dad just made that up. But it was, oh, hail Fairmont High School, you sure are a fine school. Oh, hail Fairmont High School, you sure are a peach. So it was the first thing we thought, well, what the heck, we'll sing that. And here he is singing along. It was his first words, was singing the song that he made up. So it was our clue also that creativity and different parts of the brain can come alive. And actually the dendrites get activated by singing and moving, and that's the complementary as well. How do we start thinking about creative ways to be supportive? And what surprised and delighted me about your magazine is that there's all sorts of creative tips.
Yes. Yes, it is such a big part of complementary health is the creativity. And so many of our providers, of our collaborators that we have that are a part of the magazine, it's so much a part of their everyday focus in their businesses, and they bring that to our readers as well.
Now, I know we're coming down to the end of the first segment, but I want to make sure that folks know that if you go to The Natural Awakenings, either online or you pick up a copy. One of the articles that struck me was called Holiday Happiness Helpers. And there are 6 tips to be thinking about for the holidays. And we'll continue this discussion about looking at health and holidays into the next section. But the first thing that they suggest is set an intention to enjoy the holidays, which seems pretty obvious. It's the holidays, so it's time to enjoy. But setting an intention is different than just setting expectations.
Correct.
And I like the idea of how you can make a decision about what you want to get out of the holidays. What are we wanting to create for uplifting moments? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a really good thing to think about as we're going into the holidays. Savor moments of well-being. How often we rush through things and we are not savoring that moment, taking in the moment and going, hey, let's just get a pause here. Give me 15 seconds to enjoy. This is a really pretty table I just set.
It's a busy time of the year, but if we can just savor that moment.
Take a break and regain focus. How often we go into overdrive. I'm the queen of overdrive and have too many things going on at once. How do we just slow down and take a break? Notice that it's going to help maybe recharge our battery in a new way. And it doesn't have to be a long time, just enough to be able to get our mind straight and not be always on the to-do list, which I think is very easy to do in the holidays. Practice gratitude, practice generosity, and I love play and have fun.
That's one we all need.
And we'll be continuing to have fun in our next segment. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We're on Connections, and we're talking about natural awakenings and a new show coming up. So stay tuned. There's more to come.
Hi, I'm Rose McGee, founder of Sweet Potato Comfort Pies. I invite you to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 90th birthday and our Sweet Potato Comfort Pies 5th annual holiday of service. We'll experience the deep roots of African American culture and its time-tested practice for fostering healing and constructive action. In the South, where Dr. King led his groundbreaking work for civil rights, Sweet Potato Pie has always been the sacred dessert of Black culture. On Saturday, January 19th at Calvary Lutheran Church in Golden Valley, volunteers will bake 90 pies in honor of Dr. King. Then on Sunday, January 20th at Brookview Community Center in Golden Valley, community members will share their own stories to promote racial solidarity and healing, and together we'll determine who to recognize with a pie for comfort or courage. So to bake, register, or donate, please email us at sweetpotatocomfortpies@gmail.com. Together, we'll keep our eyes on the pies.
Why must the world be so cold? They've gone against what was told. Thinking rape is cool, think about it. They think it's not wrong, violence against women, the rape, the abuse, the emotional, physical. They all hold the hate, think about it. Is it right or wrong? What attracts you? I'm not saying no names, but you laugh. Talk about it like nothing is wrong. Think about it. They all hold the hate. Gotta stop the violence. Stop the hate. Think about it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, this is Jen of Vandalia Glassworks in St. Paul. We're an independent glass studio celebrating the art of making beautiful glassworks. This ancient skill of creating art from fire is something you can learn to do through the Blow Your Own Glass class classes. Learn to make an elegant glass paperweight, and advanced classes will teach you how to make tumblers and other pieces of art. Consider giving the gift of experience during the holidays. Sign up with friends and family to create artistic glassworks together. More at VandaliaGlassworks.com.
Building a new home or remodeling a treasured older home can be one of the most exciting and rewarding endeavors of a lifetime. The key to success is to have your priorities and expectations decided up front and that your building partners all share your goals and vision. Steve Northway, founder of Construction Advocates, takes the mystery out of the process of building or remodeling and helps ensure a rewarding process for all involved. For more information or to set up an interview with Steve, go to constructionadvocates.com. That's constructionadvocates.com.
Hi, I'm Noshina Hussein, and I'm from Reviving the Islamic Sisterhood for Empowerment. We are on a mission to amplify the voice and power of Muslim women by reclaiming stories told about us and training our sisters to become leaders in our communities. We imagine a future in which all Muslim women are connected, reflected, celebrated, and emboldened. A future that can only be realized when we see ourselves in positions of power. Our sisterhood is grounded in our faith, which inspires us to show up together and create change in our communities. Together, we rise.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. And we're talking about the magazine and online magazine, Natural Awakenings. And we're also excited because our friend Candy here, she is Candy Brofel. Candy Brofel is the publisher of Natural Awakenings, the Twin Cities edition. She does a marvelous job of having both national and local articles in here. Welcome, Candy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Candy, you're going to be bringing a show to town.
I am, and I'm very excited about it. So Sunday mornings from 10 to 11, right here on 9:50 a.m., I will have a show called Green Tea Conversations.
Nice.
And we'll be talking about natural health.
Interesting. When you walked in this morning, I said, "Do you want some tea?" Had no idea that you're a cup of tea gal like me. That's great. So you're going to be doing a show, but you're also going to be letting folks know about events, not just your magazine, but events that take place and all sorts of fun things.
Yes, there'll be so many different things that we'll be taking a look at, interviewing different people, movers and shakers, and in the Twin Cities and nationally as well.
So give us the website.
The website for the magazine is naturaltwincities.com.
And where can we find these free magazines around the Twin Cities if we want to pick up a hard copy?
You can find them at coffee shops, libraries, yoga studios, health spas. They are at coffee shops. They are at many different locations, over 400 locations.
And I took a look at the website and I saw that there's a section on health, fit body, eat well, green living, pets, community, calendar, local directory of things to do in the Twin City folks that have great programs. And today we're going to visit some of those articles, bring the articles to life, encourage you to go out and, get a hold of this magazine as well. But we're going to chat about it. In our last segment, we were talking about the holiday happiness helpers, and there were 6 different things that we looked at. But there are two more things to be thinking about the holidays and choosing to make the holidays delightful. What are those other 2 things that we can choose to do to make the holidays delightful?
So one of our local contributors, Nia Claire, who has written an article in the December magazine as well, she had some additional tips and tricks that we can use as we're going into the holidays to make the holidays delightful. And one is that you need to own your own happiness. And so your happiness is really not dependent on somebody else. It's not dependent on what the reaction is by somebody else or what is happening. And when we can go in with no expectations about what is about to take place, but just go in understanding that we are in charge of our happiness and that we're responsible for it, then it can help us to kind of let go of those expectations.
Sometimes it feels like we've got a gremlin in our head that dictates how it should be and how we're not good enough because we're not matching up to what the gremlin says. How being able to put that gremlin aside and just take it all in is really the part of mindfulness, isn't it? Where you don't have that internal monologue going on.
Well, and one of the things that I found really helpful myself, I had a coach who I've used many years for different things, but one of her sayings that she would always repeat to me was, people will show up exactly the way you expect them to.
Wow.
And so if I come into this expecting that there's going to be tension or expecting that my mind will automatically look for that in the other person. So when we can go in and say, okay, I'm coming into this with an open heart, I'm coming into this in a new way, then we can have a better time during the holidays with our families.
It's interesting. I live on a little hobby farm, and so my animals are kind of my mood rings of helping me check my expectations, especially my horses. My horse will react to whatever mood I'm in. So if I'm kind of in a hurried and hassled mood, he is just snotty to me. And it's just like, wait a minute, maybe if I come in here with a little happier heart, I won't have a horse that's being sassy and it's true. I come in with a peaceful, loving heart and expecting them to be wonderful, and they are.
Last week, I was listening to your show, and you were talking about empathy. Animals are extremely empathetic, empathic, so they can actually, it is a great way to tune into your own feelings is with your animals, with your pets around you as well.
Absolutely. They make a connection in a very powerful way, and they're helping people come back and make connections with post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot has been happening with horses and whatnot. Again, a complementary way of dealing with stress and challenges. It's and I am excited because your magazine and authors talk about pets as well. So that makes me happy to see pets being part of the natural awakenings.
Most months, we always have something in with pets. So,
and I hope that we're going to have time to get to. There's some good there's good articles down here, and there's some recipes for doggy bones and things to think about around the holidays around yours. But let's get back to the articles that we had planned for this segment. And the next article we have is called Party Healthy. And I loved this article because one of the lead-off statements was, health is the new rock and roll. And I went, what? But yeah, it kind of is. It's kind of the hip thing to do, is to be more aware of how to take care of ourselves.
Yes, we're talking about it all the time. We're hearing about it all the time. And it's such an important part.
And this gal is a doctor that works with rock and roll folks. And she had this great statement, life is a celebration, and that her philosophy is that what you do for your health must fit into your lifestyle and be enjoyable rather than isolating or extreme. And sometimes I think people get way out of whack with their health schemes, and it's a fad, and they go from one fad to the next, and it's not sustainable.
No. So are you talking about, like, if I decided to start exercising and thought I needed to do it for 2 hours at a time every day?
Yeah.
That has not worked well for me in the past.
Or to go on a bike ride, and the first time, let's go 20 miles. Yeah, there's like a payback for that. She went over a couple different things to be thinking about, because I really wasn't knowing where she was going when she's like, we're talking about rock and roll and then travel. I'm like, oh yeah, on the road, these rock and roll folks. But she did have some really good ideas about airport. Now, I just traveled, and it's a tough road out there, especially during the holidays with all the canceled flights. But to have more of a mindful attitude going into even your travel, take it as an opportunity. I did numerous steps last night because of airport construction. But instead of like, oh, I have to walk all over, I'm getting my steps in. Having a chance to meditate, having a chance to connect with friends and family when I have a layover, instead of just being upset that there's a layover. Oh, here's an opportunity. I've got some downtime. How can I connect with some family? Because that's part of the holidays too.
That is great. I love to hear you say that. And it is such a big part of it when we're going into traveling, is if we expect things to go a certain way and then they don't, and we get so stressed about it, that stress also depletes us. And so makes us more susceptible to the colds and the infections that are in the airplane.
A little bit of a cold, I do admit. I was not perfect because there's a lot of gross stuff out there. And I want to talk in our next segment, lead us off. You've got a product that for travelers that's good, that if I'd known about it, I would have gotten, because I think I got this cold from traveling in that little tube of an airplane, and I was shoehorned into my seat, and the air that's in there is not always the best healthy air.
No, and it's one of the products we have in our gift guide.
Yeah. The gift guide. And let's remind folks that if you go out and get your magazine, The Natural Awakenings, there is a gift guide. And in the next segment, we're going to be promoting one of those gifts.
Sounds great.
All right. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and you're on Connections Radio Show. But we're also got a little bit of Natural Awakenings, and the name of the new show is going to be
Green Tea Conversations.
And that's starting in January. So more about health. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. St. Paul's Payne Avenue historic Brunson's Pub has a special charm you feel instantly as you walk through the doors. Owners Tom and Molly encourage you to come to their cozy pub and celebrate the holidays with great food and drink. Brunson's Pub gives you a taste of history and inspires you to make a little history of your own. Tom's first job at 17 was a busser at a local East Side restaurant. The attraction to hospitality was immediate. The energy, the community, the living history. He knew his future then. Not long after, Tom met Molly while both working at a St. Paul pub. It was love at first sight. With Tom's passion for locally owned restaurants and Molly's entrepreneurial drive, a partnership was forged and grew into a celebration of the art and history of the St. Paul pub through creating the Brunson's Pub. Bring your friends and family and enjoy good times together at Brunson's Pub. You can pick up a discounted gift card at brunsonspub.com and be sure to give a visit and a like to Brunson's Pub on Facebook. Tom and Molly look forward to seeing you.
Gandhi Mahal is a full-spice Bangladeshi Indian restaurant. The owner, Rahel Islam, comes from the Flavor Village in Bangladesh, and he is pleased to offer you dishes cooked from passed-down family recipes. Gandhi Mahal's mission is to provide high-quality, healthy, locally sourced food that brings you peace by pleasing your palate. Dedicated to Gandhi's principle of inspiring change through our contributions, Gandhi Mahal Restaurant aspires to bring diverse Minnesotans together. We invite you to join Gandhi Mahal celebration for New Year's Eve. Join us for lively, authentic Indian music and a special meal to bring in our New Year hopes for change. Your visit will also support increased community understanding and sustainability. Visit Gandhi Mahal Restaurant, located at 3009 27th Avenue South in Minneapolis, and learn more about us at our website, gandhimahal.com. That's gandhimahal.com.
The bright and fun brainchild of the Waddy brothers, the World Street Kitchen, features flavors from across the globe, from Asia to the Caribbean to the Mediterranean and everything in between. The restaurant serves popular staples, specials, sweets, and cocktails in one friendly spot. What's it like? It's an experience. The red curry chicken burrito slaps you on one cheek and kisses you on the other. Bring your favorite people, order at the counter, sit together and laugh. Eat your crazy, delicious, simple food with big, bold flavors that come together with delicious harmony. And for dessert, enjoy the best ice cream you've ever tasted at Milk Jam Creamery just next door. Amazing frozen creation by the team behind the World Street Kitchen. Come to Minneapolis Uptown at 2743 Lindale Avenue South and get a taste of the world. Find out about the tasty goodness at EATWSK.com. That's EATWSK.com.
I'm good, but I have a story and I don't know where to start.
I'm good, but I feel alone in a crowd.
When the service member or veteran in your life says,
I'm good.
Are you really listening?
I still have nightmares. I'm really not so good, but are you ready to listen?
Suicide prevention is everyone's responsibility. Listen to the veteran or service member in your life. If you are in crisis or know someone who is, call the Veterans Crisis Line and Military Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
Your host, and I'm glad you've joined the conversation today, because today we're talking about a new show coming to AM 950 Weekend Lineup, and we have Candy Brofel, who is the publisher of Natural Awakenings, and the Twin Cities edition is absolutely marvelous. We've been talking about some of those articles, and I want to welcome you, Candy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, in our last segment, we were talking about the travails of my travel, but it was a nice time to talk about expectations as well. Mm-hmm. If we go into the holiday travel knowing that it's not going to go as planned, that there's going to be some changes that we have to adapt to. But if we have an attitude of like, I'm going to take it as an adventure and whatever comes my way, whether it's walking a little bit more or having a little longer layaway, what can I do to make it positive? But there are some realities to travel. I came back with a cold, and I know that there's a product that's in the gift guide. By the way, Natural Awakenings is a magazine you can pick up anywhere in the Twin Cities, like at yoga places and medical clinics and libraries. There are like 400 different places that you can pick up a magazine.
Over 400 locations.
And there's a gift guide. And you've got a gift for me for my future travel.
I do. The gift is called the Fresh Air personal surround, and it is an air cleaner that helps that you can actually wear on yourself. So it's on a necklace type.
So it can get through TSA.
Yes, it will go through TSA, and it cleans the air, your personal air around you. So it helps with all of the stale air that is in the airplane while you're traveling.
Because they recycle that air.
They do.
And everybody's, exhale, all those germs and all of those colds and fever and flu.
And they do, they have filtration systems, but how often are those things getting changed? Because there's a lot of travel, right? There's a lot of people in and out of there. So this is your own personal air freshener, air cleaner that you can have around you at all times.
I'll feel like a warrior with my little emblem.
Yes.
So how much is it?
It is $75, and you can purchase it at myvollara.com/free and fit.
Terrific. Well, fresh air is a good thing, especially around the holidays. But you know what else is good around the holidays is good food.
Yes.
And I noticed on your website, and could you give the website address one more time for everybody?
Sure. The website address is naturaltwincities.com.
What I loved is finding some great recipes. So in this segment, I want to talk a little bit about different ways to look at the holiday season and maybe freshen it up with a healthful approach to eating. Because it's a time when we can overindulge. It's a time when we can add a lot of sugar and a lot of fats. So what are some tasty ways that are family pleasing? So the first one that I picked out is the simple sheet pan supper. Now, I've heard of making easy crock pot, but I thought, wow, simple sheet pan, that makes sense. So what this does is that there's a lot of chefs and home chefs that found a really nice way of baking food on these sheets. And the sheets combine making it very easy to prep, because people tell me, oh, I'd like to eat more healthful, but it takes so much time. Well, not really. It's just a different way to prepare and a different way to think about eating. It takes time to, even go out to a restaurant. And if you translate that into what are some simple steps that you can just do in your home, and it's a lot less expensive. So there's easy prep and process and cleanup if you do it on this sheet. Now, the recipe is on the web. But here's some tasty things that are included in the different ones that have in there. Actually, I thought I had my recipe right here. I guess I don't have the recipe, so you're going to have to look that up. So,
I do.
Oh, you do? Could you share? It's the one with the roots, all the cool roots.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think that one is not on here, but it's a root vegetable root vegetables that you put on the sheet pan. And the thing I want to say about sheet pans, I agree. I love crock pots, but I love sheet pans in the winter when we can get the oven going and you have the wonderful smells and the aromatics and in your home, and your home is toasty and warm. There's something about having on that oven that you can't get from a crock pot.
I did find one of the recipes.
Oh, good.
So this one has all these great vegetables in it. So you can take like a bunch of asparagus. You get extra virgin oil, kosher salt. Then you can put some fillets on there as well if you want to have a fish or chicken. There's red onions you can put on this one, lemon, garlic, big parsley leaves. Make it pretty. I think that's part of it, is people like to eat with their eyes as well as eat with their stomach for their taste and whatnot. So be creative. I think the lesson learned here is the reason I thought, I thought there was a recipe. No, the lesson learned is pick your favorite stuff.
Yes.
Put them on there, and it takes, maybe a oven at around 450, to really get it that quick, hot bake on it. And it is delicious. 15, 20 minutes for the vegetables, and they're heavenly. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I noticed on here are some good salads. The salads that I thought looked really fun was one that was packed with tasty brown vegetables, nuts, and cheese. Had a red onion, carrots, zucchini, red peppers. There's a great recipe for the dressing, which has extra virgin oil, sea salt, and a little bit of black pepper. And then you put a little bit of chopped smoked almonds in there. Get some bib lettuce. I know. I love different textures, different colors, different tastes, and they're all delicious. So with that in mind, for eating healthful, do you have a favorite food that you like to make around the holidays?
You know, I am kind of a sweet potato person, so yams.
That's so much better than potatoes.
Yes, but I don't do the sweet ones. So I do sweet potatoes with curry, the curry spices and butter and everything wonderful that you want that really good butter in those on the holidays.
So to get those recipes, go to their website and give the website one more time.
Website is naturaltwincities.com.
Now, so for our next section on stories that are on the website, I'd like to talk about pets. Pets have a hard time around the holidays if we're not careful. And I like to do a shout out for things to be thinking about to keep your pet safe. And the article is on pet safe holidays. And some of the things that I think are important is, sometimes it's fun to feed dogs off the table, but it's really bad for them. And so even though you think that they'll enjoy it, giving them those little fatty dishes, maybe the fat itself or gravy, that's really hard on the animal. What you want to do is give them the things that are good for you too. So sweet potatoes or potatoes are good, along with turkey without the skin. And you can make little jerky treats for them so that if you want to give them something special, fix it for them ahead of time. Don't give them the table scraps. There are some bad foods that you want to be keeping in mind. Chocolate is really awful, especially dark chocolate. This can cause seizures in animals as well as heart problems. Onions. And we don't all, sometimes onions are used in all kinds of things and we just give our dog scraps. Those onions can cause anemia and it's just not good. Even raw, yeasty bread, it can cause bloating. Raisins and grapes. This one's really important because these can cause kidney failure. So you might not even notice that you get into like oatmeal cookies and all of a sudden those oatmeal cookies with raisins can be really toxic. It's important to know that animals have a different digestive system. And even though we think it's treats, even though some of those things aren't good for us either.
When they're looking at us with those eyes and they really want what we're having.
Yeah, so the big things to be thinking about is pets don't need brown sugar. They don't need marshmallows. They don't need butter. They don't need salt. They don't need gravy to appreciate the treat. Give them something that's fun. Now, what they have that you can do are some really good pet recipes. There's one that I think is even good for horses as well. It looks like it takes about 1.5 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, some molasses, and trust me, the horses love molasses, and I'm sure the dogs will too, 1/4 cup of filtered water, and 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And you put it in of course, mix it up, and if you wanted to use little cookie cutters, I'm sure you could, or if you just want to make them into little cookies that are in the cookie shape, just put them in the oven at 350, and it's only 20 minutes.
And this is basically, it's a gingerbread cookie for your dogs. But the important thing to remember is not to add nutmeg.
Right.
Because nutmeg is toxic for dogs.
I skipped that, but I think that is really important because there's a lot of nutmeg around Christmas too. We put it in pies, we put it in all kinds of stuff. And speaking of pies, there's another recipe for dogs that I thought looked way fun that has pumpkin in it. I have a dog that absolutely adores pumpkin. And these are little pumpkin cookies for your dog. So go ahead and get him some 1.5 cups of oat flour, 1.5 cups of brown rice flour. They say a half canned pumpkin. Look for the ones that's not the pumpkin pie filling, because the pumpkin pie filling is probably going to have that nutmeg.
Right.
Look for it's just pure pumpkin. And then add an egg, add some molasses, add some honey, a little water if you need it. Again, you combine it up, make the little cookies, put it into that oven at 350. Takes about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, and your dog's going to get a happy treat. And how much fun is it to give pumpkin cookies to friends' dogs, too? What a lovely gift.
Oh, that would be a great gift idea.
Especially if people love their dogs like I love my dogs.
Yes.
Why not bring something special to them? And now I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for us to talk about some events coming up. Now, I know in our next segment we'll be featuring them, but let's preview a couple things that you generally do in the Twin Cities through Natural Awakenings. You do have like workshops, and you have fairs and festivals and events that are conferences. Tell me about the types of events, and then in our next segment, we'll tell about the specific ones coming up.
Okay, so we have a lot of our advertisers have a lot of events, workshops that they provide. So it might be something on a specific health issue. It might be on just preparing yourself for the new year, setting some goals, doing some vision boards, that type of thing. We just completed our annual Your Shining Life Expo, which we had in November. And that is a big expo. It's an annual expo that we have.
And you do that once a year?
Once a year. Mm-hmm. And so we do it in the fall. We just got done. It was beautiful. It was everything wonderful. I was so happy with it. But with that, we have people who provide massage and Reiki and different hypnosis, different types of complementary approaches.
Are there speaking presentations as well?
And workshops, yes. Lots of workshops that people can go to. So it's an all-day event. People come, they spend the entire day. They learn a lot. They get a lot of good self-care and walk away with some really great information.
And that's done in collaboration then with your partners who are advertisers as well as folks that you work with in your own practice.
Yes. We have many sponsors, many people who are a big part of this.
Well, you're listening to Connections Radio Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And if you're enjoying this show, well, guess what? You're going to have double the fun because next year we're going to have our friend Candy here is going to be doing the show. Tell us the name of the show.
Green Tea Conversations.
It's going to start on January 6th, so you're getting a preview. So stay tuned. We'll talk about events coming up in the near future. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Rose McGee, founder of Sweet Potato Comfort Pies. I invite you to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 90th birthday and our Sweet Potato Comfort Pies 5th annual holiday of service. We'll experience the deep roots of African American culture and its time-tested practice for fostering healing and constructive action. In the South, where Dr. King led his groundbreaking work for civil rights, sweet potato pie has always been the sacred dessert of Black culture. On Saturday, January 19th at Calvary Lutheran Church in Golden Valley, volunteers will bake 90 pies in honor of Dr. King. Then on Sunday, January 20th at Brookview Community Center in Golden Valley, community members will share their own stories to promote racial solidarity and healing, and together we'll determine who to recognize with a pie for comfort or courage. So to bake, register, or donate, please email us at sweetpotatocomfortpies@gmail.com. Together, we'll keep our eyes on the pies.
Hi, I'm Noshina Hussein, and I'm from Reviving the Islamic Sisterhood for Empowerment. We are on a mission to amplify the voice and power of Muslim women by reclaiming stories told about us and training our sisters to become leaders in our communities. We imagine a future in which all Muslim women are connected, reflected, celebrated, and emboldened. A future that can only be realized when we see ourselves in positions of power. Our sisterhood is grounded in our faith, which inspires us to show up together and create change in our communities. Together, we rise.
All right, everybody in the car, let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Joyful gospel, roof-raising rhythm and blues fill the house as Park Square Theater presents Marie and Rosetta, November 23rd through December 30th. Godmother of rock and roll, Sister Rosetta Tharpe was a huge influence on Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jimi Hendrix, and Ray Charles. This play with music begins as Rosetta and her young protege, Marie Knight, prepare for a tour that will establish them as a groundbreaking musical duo. Jamicia Bennett as Rosetta, with Rajune Katura-Brown as Marie. This is a song fest you won't want to miss, including This Train, Were you there? Rock me. Sit down. Didn't it rain? Call my name in prayer. Tall, skinny Papa. 4 or 5 times, I looked down the line. Amazing grace and peace in the valley. Previews start Thanksgiving weekend, and November 30th is opening night. More at parksquaretheater.org. Radio show. And we've been having a great time today. We've been talking about a new show coming to our AM 950 weekend lineup. And we have Candy Brofel, who is the publisher of Natural Awakenings, the Twin Cities edition. And she is going to be the host of a new show that she's going to tell us more about during this segment. So, my friend, you're going to be part of our family, our AM 950 family.
I am so excited.
I'm excited, too. So your vision for your show, tell me a little bit about that.
So the vision for the show is really kind of the overall vision for the year is really taking a look at how we can let go of some of our fears. So there's so much fear in our world today, so many things that we have to be afraid of.
And anxious about. You turn on the TV for 10 minutes and I go into panic attack almost. It's just like I have to back off and go outside and take in a deep breath.
And so we really want to just kind of look at that and say, is that really true? Are all of those things really kind of happening around us? And how do we get more present so that we know really, truly what's happening with ourselves?
And even if they're happening outside, how can we keep a peace inside? You know, what do we need to cope and to create a vision for ourselves versus being dictated by the fears around us?
Yes, there's so many things that are happening. So if we can do that as our overall goal, and I know you do a lot of that with your show as well, looking at connection. And when we have a lot of fear, we're not able to get that connection.
We feel isolated. I think that's the heart, is that when we're alone and isolated, there's not that sense of hope.
And peace.
Right.
And what we really all seek. So the more I talk to people, the more I hear 3 things from people. I'm looking for connection, I'm looking for peace, and I'm looking for freedom. And they really want to tap into their own intuition, their own knowing. And so it's just, really being able to trust your own instincts, being able to trust your own intuition. So that's a lot about what we'll be talking about is giving you information so that you're able to do that. The more information you have and the more that you learn, the more you're able to do those kind of things. So we'll start off with the first show being just simply an introduction to Natural Awakenings, similar to what you're doing today, but I'm going to be interviewing the first person who owned Natural Awakenings and brought it here to the Twin Cities, the original publisher. Her name is Jackie Flaherty. And so she'll be on the first show, and I'll kind of get from her what was her vision for it, and then go on from there and share what my vision is. I purchased the magazine just a year ago.
And now you have a radio counterpart.
And now I have a radio show. And for someone who never published a magazine or was on the radio ever, it's kind of exciting.
Welcome to the new world of media.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there, we're going to take a look at different series. So one of the series, the first thing we're going to look at is natural pain management. So really looking at what are some things that you can do if you're having pain to really understand where the pain is coming from and the different complementary things that you can do to help yourself overcome that pain. We'll also be looking at the mind-body connection, which is always a big part of it. So how do our emotions tap into the physical pain that we're having? There's a lot of studies being done on, I don't know if you've ever heard of ACEs, which is the Adverse Childhood Experiences. And the more incidents of ACEs that you had, whether that be abuse as a child or neglect, or if the parent was missing or incarcerated, all of those things add up. And it's called, there's actually a scale that they can do and shows how many ACEs that you have. And that is directly related. They're finding a lot of correlation between that and the pain that we have.
Wow.
So it's really looking at those mind-body spirit connections as well.
I'm looking forward to that pain series. It's an important one. And there's also things that you're going to do to promote events in the Twin Cities. So tell me about some events coming up that our Connections audience can hear about.
So one that I'm really excited about, there's so many, but one that I'm really excited about is two of two of people who I care a great deal about, Nia Claire and Michelle Ray, who are together doing doing a workshop called Stepping Confidently into 2019.
Isn't that perfect?
Yes, it's a beautiful workshop, really helping you get in touch with who you are, what you want to do in 2019, what you want to accomplish, or how you want to be, just how you want to show up in the world in 2019.
And isn't it wonderful because you look back in December of 2019 and go, oh, these are some of the things I set my goals. And if you don't make some of them, they can be, put into 2020. But the ones that you did, you can celebrate. So it's really a commitment to yourself for the year.
Well, in 2019 promises to be a really good year this year. So
I sure hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
I am putting it out there.
Good. Our intention.
That is my intention.
Our expectation. It's going to be a great year. Well, you're joining AM 950, so I know it will be. So I know there's a couple others you want to make sure that you let us know about, too.
Yes. So on December 20th, there is a workshop at Mazopea, which is a health food store down in Prior Lake. And I'm going to find it here. I apologize.
That's all right.
I'm struggling with my... It's called The Taste of Holidays, and it is really looking at vegan desserts. So it's a class that you can take, and they're going to show you different vegan desserts that are delicious that you can use for the holidays, and it's just $5 to cover
cheap.
the cost.
Oh,
and you
that's
get to
great.
try some.
What I think is important about looking at vegan and vegetarian is that you yourself may not be vegan or vegetarian, but if you're going to be hosting events, there's some people that don't feel comfortable going to sometimes to holiday parties because they don't know if there's going to be anything there that they can eat or feeling uncomfortable about not eating when people are hosting things. So taking time and being considerate if you are inviting folks over that are vegan or vegetarian and you don't know how to make something, what a perfect way to feel more comfortable and to create that hospitality for everyone.
Exactly. And it is, there's so many delicious recipes that people won't even know it's vegan.
There you go.
So you can serve it to everyone.
And it's especially, but make sure you save a piece for the vegan.
Yes.
Do we have another one?
So the other one that I want to talk about is called Massage Basics. So this is being provided by Centerpoint, Minnesota, and it is on Saturday, December 8th.
Centerpoint, like the energy company Centerpoint? No.
No, it's not Center. It's. I'm sorry, I got distracted there for a minute, but no, it is not Centerpoint Energy. Although they do energy work, so there you go. Right?
There you have it.
But they're taking a look at Massage Basics, and what a great gift to be able to give someone as well. The gift of massage, and
the gift that keeps on giving. You could give it to someone and then get something in return later.
Exactly.
Tell me what you learned on my back.
So it is also, it's something you can learn for yourself that you can learn to use with your family. Oh, nice. And it'll be just a great class to be in and get some tips.
Well, tell you what, this has been a great show today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's been fun to get to know you as a sister show coming up. And I think it's going to be fun for our Twin Cities listeners to know not only about the magazine and access the magazine, but to hear about things to do, because that's important on our Connections radio show too. We want to make the connections to things that are taking place. So we welcome you to AM 950 and welcome you to Connections radio show today. Thank you for sharing your time and your heart and your ideas and your vision for the future.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Absolutely. So stick with us next week. We've got a great show coming up. It's going to be on Vandalia Glass Arts. So stay tuned next week too. Have a great week. Take care.